Okay friends, so in the last video we transformed this sign-in screenshot into native Figma frames and layers, and I really appreciate it that you are sticking with me through this video series. I know the last one was a long one. Hopefully this video is going to be a bit shorter. In the last video we practiced several skills again: Figma auto layout, Figma components, Figma instances, even this little much more trickier button here, where we were able to basically build a custom button with icons at the beginning and have the ability to swap these icons using sort of this instant swapping feature in Figma as well, right? So in this video, we're going to be tackling the next screen, which is the Google sign-in screen. And before we do that, I want to quickly clean up some of our components and move them out of this page. So here's my generic button component. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to go to this page called components, which you should find should already have one component called project steps. It's the same component that I've been using for all of these project step layers and frames. So just now I cut and pasted the button component here. I'm going to go back to page jump. Oops, I'm going to download a plugin actually called Page Jumper. So the benefit of something called Page Jumper, Page Jump tab 3.3, is that it lets me quickly jump between my pages in Figma, and that's really useful when you have tons of pages like this in a given Figma file. So now I'm back in the 3.3.3 Figma page. I'm going to go down here, also going to cut this guy, page jump to components, and then paste here. And essentially I'm just Marie Kondoing my my assets and files. So here's icons. Also going to move this to previous page. These are all the icons. And in fact, what I'm going to do is combine these as variants. So you'll notice that when you have individual icons like this, you can combine them all into a variant. Or excuse me, when you have individual icons like this and they're all components, you can combine them together so that it's just one component called icon with multiple variants. And in this case, the property should be called company. And we'll touch on this in a future video, but icons are notoriously tedious to manage, and so you do want to use probably components and component variants to kind of reinforce a bit of organization. So this is my icon component. Inside I have a bunch of variants, and they are organized through a property called company. So I'm going to jump back, jump to 3.3. Okay, zoom out. All right, so we cleaned up our components. So the next step is to design the continue with Google screen. All right, and if you haven't guessed this already, you'll notice this is probably using Google styles. Choose an account, continue to open AI. All this little thing that shows up over and over and over again, it's a authentication method via Google, signing in with Google, and someone in the community has already made something like this. So continue with Google or sign in Google. If you search for it, Google account sign in, this page, someone named Gonçalo, I've probably mispronounced their name, apologize there, but if you open this in Figma, which I already did, it'll clone that asset, that Figma page, or excuse me, Figma file to your drafts, which I already did. So in this case, all I want to do is simply reuse this. What's the difference here? I'm gonna pick the bigger one, I think, and come over here. This is my continue with Google screen. Continue Google, or let's call it sign in with Google. Okay, and then delete this and delete this logo. This is sort of like just an intermediate screen, and paste in this sign in with Google component that this other friend of ours had already made. So if I go back to the website and hit continue with Google, you should be able to see how they implemented this. So let's see how big this is. So again, I'm going to inspect. This whole container is about 448 pixels. And how big is this? 448. Okay, great. So I just resized it a little. And it's in the middle. And it says choose an account to continue to. So I'm going to update this text. Say openai.com. And we don't have a logo at the top. We don't need to worry about that. And it has, of course, account names and stuff. To continue, Google will share your blah, 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 blah. And that was it. I mean, this one is a short video because someone had already done all the work. So I'm going to stop there. I'll see you in the next video.